Hello, good evening, everyone. My name is Catherine from SEB Housing, and tonight we're going to run the lottery for the 33 affordable rental units at Grayson Lofts in Wakefield. We're going to get the lottery underway in just a few moments. First, just want to say if you have any questions during the session, you were muted as you came into the Zoom room. If you have a question, you can type it into the chat, or you can unmute yourself momentarily to ask that question. And the meeting is being recorded. You should have heard that notification when you came into the room as well. And it will be saved on SEB Housing's YouTube channel later on tonight. So first, before the lottery itself, just want to give you some background information on how many applicants applied and all of that. No need to write any of this down. There is going to be an email that is sent after this session by tomorrow morning that's going to have all this information, including the lottery results in it. So you all should already have a lottery application number, and that number is in the form of A dot and then a series of 4 numbers. In this case, your number should be between A.001 and A.010. So let me know if you don't have that number, if you forgot it. I am going to be calling that number tonight rather than names for privacy purposes. So at Grayson Lofts, there are 33 total affordable units. We received 10 completed applications, so there's going to be 10 households in the lottery. There are 12 affordable studio apartments, and there were a total of 3 completed applications for those. One of those households has local preference. There are also 10 one-bedroom apartments, and there were 7 completed applications for the 1 bedrooms. 3 of those applicants qualify for local preference. And there are 11 2-bedroom apartments, and we had, again, a total of 3 total applications, completed applications, and 2 of those 3 have local preference. So you were informed when you received your lottery eligibility notice, the email that had that lottery number on it, whether or not you qualified for local preference. There were a total of 4 applicants who qualify for that preference, and that just means that those applicants will have higher positions on the waiting list than those who don't have local preference. But you also want to keep in mind that your household size, so your household type, is also going to determine where you fall on the waiting list. So there are also 3 affordable units that are equipped with disabled accessible features for persons with disabilities. There weren't any applicants, any completed applications who required the features of those units, so we're going to add those units to the waiting list, the general waiting list, and they will be made available to lottery applicants who do not require those accessibility features. All right, so we're going to have 2 drawings, one for local preference and one for the general drawing. So what that means is I'm going to call 4 numbers first. That's the order of the local preference drawing, and then I'm going to take those local preference households and put them all in together with the rest of the households, and I'm going to draw all 10 for the second drawing. When I start the drawing, I'm going to be holding up the index cards that I have the numbers written on here, and I've shuffled up the numbers so when they go into the lottery box that I have here, they will not be going in order for obvious reasons. And I'll take just a second to write down and record the order that they're drawn in, so I don't have to go back and rewatch the video when I go ahead and sort the results. So following the lottery, each household is going to be sent an email. I'm going to try to get that out tonight. If you don't get it tonight, I will send it tomorrow morning, and that's going to include next steps in the process. It's also going to have the sorted waiting list attached. So once you receive that email, you're going to be able to locate your application number on the waiting list or waiting lists. If you applied for more than 1 unit size and you qualified for more than 1 unit size, you'll find your application number on 2 waiting lists potentially. So when you receive that email, you're going to also notice that your lottery number is highlighted in green. Everyone's lottery number is going to be highlighted in green. That's indicating that you or that everyone will be invited to immediately move forward in the process of completing a lease application with the leasing office following this lottery. And again, that's because we have there are more affordable units at Grayson Lofts than we have completed applications. So that's great news for all of you that are interested in leasing there. The leasing office's contact information is going to be given to you in that email, and they will also have been given your contact information, so you can go ahead and coordinate touring the property if you haven't already, touring a unit, completing that lease application that you'll need to fill out with them, and then hopefully reserving one of the affordable units. So your placement on the waiting list determines in what order you'll be able to reserve a unit. So if you're the first person after I've sorted the waiting list, if you're the first person on that 1-bedroom waiting list, for example, you're going to be the first household to be able to select a unit. So that's why it's beneficial for you to be called earlier or to be higher up on the waiting list, because you'll have that first choice of available units. So it's important to keep in mind that SEB Housing has already found that your household is eligible for the Affordable Housing Program, but you haven't been found lease eligible yet by the leasing office. So you want to be sure that if you're currently renting, you're not going to give notice to your property owner immediately, because you want to first confirm that the Grayson Lofts leasing office has determined that you're lease eligible. And then finally, just a reminder, anytime that you're renting an affordable unit, you're going to be required to recertify each year around your lease renewal date. So you'd be doing that with the leasing office at Grayson Lofts. So you want to we recommend at least that you maintain a file with your just income, asset, tax information, so you have that readily available when they're going to ask for it over a year or around a year from now, probably, because they do it ahead of the lease renewal. All right, so that is all I wanted to say before the drawing itself. Does anyone have any questions? All right, and if not, I'm going to start with the local preference drawing. Again, I'll just be taking a minute in between to write down the order. These are the four cards that I'm putting in the lottery box here right now represent the 4 households who have local preference, because this is a local preference drawing. So there's 4 note cards here. I'm going to put them into the box. This is the lottery box here. They've already been shuffled. I'm going to move them around a little bit more. And then I'm going to call them. And the first one is A.009. A.005. A.008. And A.003. So those are the local preference households. I'm now going to put those 4 cards in with the other 6 cards. So we have the full 10 cards here. I'm going to shuffle them again, and I'll put them into the box, and I will do the open drawing, which includes everyone who submitted a completed application. And here they are. So this is the general drawing. Everyone on this call who has a lottery application number should hear their number. And the first is A.007. A.009. A.003. 008. 002. 005, 006, 004, 010, and then the final number here I have is 001. So those were the 10 lottery application numbers. And again, I'm going to sort these results so you know exactly where you fall on each of the waiting lists. And you will get an email from me, if not tonight, then tomorrow morning. And that email is going to have next steps, the leasing office contact information, so you can go ahead and schedule a tour. And again, there is more available affordable units than there were completed applications. So all of you will have preference at reserving one of the units at Grayson Lofts. The waiting list will now be open, I should say. So anyone who maybe is interested from the public or who just submitted their application after the lottery deadline will now be able to get on the waiting list. So you just want to make sure any notices that are sent to you by Grayson Lofts to complete your lease application and that whole process, you're going to want to stay on top of those so you don't lose your spot on the waiting list. So any questions before I sign off? All right, if not, you will get an email from me. It will come from info@sebhousing.com. It will have the attachments that I mentioned during this meeting. And if you have any questions, by all means, just reply to that email and we will get back to you. Thanks for joining in. Have a good night.